In Guale territory, in modern-day Georgia, resistance to these Christian missionaries had grown.
After a generation of people had been subjected to proselytization and conversion, some of the groups really became very hostile, particularly the Guale people.
The Guale Uprising happened just 4 months after Governor Cancio arrived. It was allegedly started by the heir apparent to the paramount chief of Tolamato. He was known as Don Juanillo, or Little John.
Don Juanillo wanted to take a second wife. And the resident Franciscan friar at Tolamato said, I don't think so. You've been baptized, you're going to behave as a good Christian, and you'll be quite content with the one wife that you have.
The friar threatened him with preventing his rise to chief of the tribe when his father died, and that angered the young man just as much as being told he could only have one wife.
Don Juanillo did not appreciate this interference in his private affairs. So he ventured into the interior, gathered a force of infidels, the Spanish sources tell us, and he returned. And he ordered the friar decapitated. And then he put the severed head, he put the head on a pike and placed that at Tolomato's boat launch as a warning. Don't interfere in local affairs in Tolomato.
The war party then moved on to other Guale communities, and 5 more friars were attacked.
2 of the friars to be executed asked to celebrate Mass first. And the executioners sat around on the floor while he celebrated Mass. And then when he finished, they killed him.
Governor Cancio was concerned that the unrest could spread. Although he lacked any hard evidence about who led the massacre, he blamed the incident on Juanillo's decision to take a second wife. He also blamed the friars who were killed.
It's a convenient story for him. So as he writes the letter, he concludes by saying, the friars deserved it. They were interfering in political matters, in matters over which they had no jurisdiction.
In fact, a new theory actually points to a different perpetrator. Witnesses claimed it wasn't Juanillo who led the war party. It was another Guale chief named Don Domingo, who then convinced the governor that Juanillo was to blame. Cancio asked him to bring Juanillo in to face trial, but instead, Don Domingo served up his own brand of justice.
When the battle ends, there on the ground deceased were Don Juanillo, the paramount chief Don Francisco, and every single male member of the ruling family of Tolomato. Gone. Tolomato was wiped off the map.
The death of the chief and all his heirs left Don Domingo the new successor. Some historians now believe that the uprising was nothing more than a takeover, and that Little John was framed.
That essentially the friars, when the hostilities began, kind of got in the way.
But several still believe the friars were killed for standing by their beliefs. And the Vatican is now considering sainthood for the 5 martyrs of Georgia.